So in this video, I'm going to show you how to add in a drop-down menu. I love adding these because one, you can customize them and actually brand them and make them super cute to match all your colors in your spreadsheet, but it makes it super easy for your customers to choose an option. Instead of them having to repeatedly type out the same thing over and over again, you give them a couple of options and then they could just use the drop-down menu to choose it. So for example, this is the reading tracker. If you're interested in the template, I will link it below. But under status, as you can see, I could just click on my drop down and it shows not started, reading, finished, and did not finish. So it gives those options and it makes it super easy. Instead of the customer having to write not started, reading, they could just choose the status from these options here. And then as you can see, they have different colors to match the spreadsheet, so you can make it super cute. So I'm going to show you a few different ways on how to create this inside of your spreadsheet. So let's go ahead. I'm going to create a drop-down for a priority because I want to create priorities for low, medium, and high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the range of cells where I want to actually add this drop-down in. So I'm going to select the very first cell. Then I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to use Shift Command and the down arrow to select all the cells below it because I know my range is the entire column below it. If you're on a PC, you're going to use your Shift, Control, and down arrow. So you might have to hit the down arrow a few times to get all the cells, but otherwise, that's what you're going to use. So again, I'm using my Shift, Command key, and my down arrow. In a PC, you're going to be using your Shift, Control, and down. So once you've got those selected, there's two ways to do this. So you can either right-click it, so right-click on your mouse, and then you can scroll down and add a drop-down that way. Or you can go to Data, and you could do Data Validation. So either way, I really like the shortcut of just right-clicking and then clicking on a drop-down, but you can use either way to do that. So once you do that, it is going to pop up this sidebar on the right side. It's going to show you what cells it's applying this feature to. And then we've got different options under criteria. So the first option is drop down. This is just a regular drop down where you can type in the different words that you want it to be. And then later on, I'm going to actually show you how to do a drop down from a range of cells. So instead of manually typing out each option, you can actually select it from a range. But for now, we're just going to focus on the basic drop down. And then in here, we're just going to write in our options. So like I said, this is for our priority. So I'm going to do high. The next one, I'm going to do medium. And then I'm going to add another item and add in low. So you can add in as many as you want. You can also move them around using the 6 dots right beside it. I can move it around to reorder it. You can also delete any that you don't need. And then depending on what you're using the dropdown for, you can allow multiple selections, but right now, as of this video, the Google Sheets only limits it to chipped or chip dropdowns. I'm going to tell you what a chip dropdown is, but just so you know, there is an option to allow multiple selections, but it's very limited on to which type of dropdown you use. So under advanced options, I'm just going to scroll down. And so basically, if the data is invalid, it's just going to reject the input. You can click it to show a warning, but I like to reject it because I'm like, hey, no, this is not part of the dropdown. I don't want you to type in anything or whatnot. I want them to show, to reject it basically. And then our display style, this is the chip I told you about. So as you can see here, it kind of looks like a little pill type shape. That's what we call chip. And so if you want to allow multiple selections, it needs to look like this. Now we have arrow. So as you can see, it's just the cell with a little arrow on the side. So if I click in here, you can see it will show me my options here. So remember, this is chip. And then this one is our arrow. And then there's plain text. Now, if you go plain text, it's going to look like an empty cell. I, most of the time, never use plain text. Most of the time. I think there's like one time I've actually used it for a spreadsheet. For the most part, I don't use it because it doesn't make it obvious for the customer or the user of the spreadsheet that it's a drop down. So as you can see, it now just looks like an empty cell, whereas they don't know that they could just double click and open up a drop down. They might start typing and then they're more likely to get rejected if they're not writing in the right words. So that's why I like to use either arrow or chip because it just makes it visually obvious that it's a drop down. So that's just my warning to you. Obviously, it's your spreadsheet. You could do whatever you want with it. But I prefer chip or arrow. So now let's talk about styling. So let's use arrow for this example. So as I click it, you can see we've got our options. Now that we've styled it that way, I'm going to come up to each of the areas because as you saw, as I did over here, each one has its own color. Actually, let me just scroll all the way up so I can actually see more of my colors that I've used in the spreadsheet because I'm going to use the color dropper. So what I can actually do is I can assign a color for each of the different options here. So right beside high, I'm going to click on the arrow and they already have some preset colors in here, but you can also click on customize and you can actually customize the background as well as the text. And you can see the preview right here. Like technically it's got black text and it's gray background, so it's very boring. But if I want to customize it, I can either put in a hex code number in there, number, letters, or I could do an RGB code, or I could play with the color wheel, so I could play around with that and just play around and figure out what color I want. Or you can use the color dropper if you've already used colors inside of your spreadsheet. So for this example, I already have plenty of colors, and I want to make sure that my drop downs match my style of my spreadsheet. So I'm going to go click on this color dropper, and I'm just going to grab this one. So I'm going to do, what do I want to do? Maybe yellow as high, so it stands out a little bit more, and then click OK. So now if I come over here and I click high, it's going to color the entire cell. So that's the difference between chipped and the arrow. For arrow, it's going to color the entire cell. Versus if it's chipped, it's only going to be that little pill form. So as you can see, if I choose reading right here, it's yellow, but it's only that pill color. It's not the full cell. So just keep in mind the different styles and which one you actually prefer. There's not one that's better than the other. They both look really good. So now I'm going to go over to my medium. Again, I'm going to customize. I'm going to use the color dropper, but again, you can add in your hex code or your RGB code. And then I'm just going to pick this one as my pink. Click OK. Go to the very last one. Again, customize. And then I'm just going to use the color dropper and pick out my colors. Now you can also change the color of the text. So if I wanted this to be white, I could do white. And as you can see, I can see the preview right there. And then click OK. And now if I chose medium and then low, as you can see, that's what it's going to look like. So that's how you kind of customize it, add your own colors. So you could change just the background color, or you could change both the background and the text, or just the text color. Totally up to you. Design it how you want. You can always change it later. And again, if you need to add any other items to this one, you would just click add another item and add it. So now that I'm done, I'm going to click done and I'm going to get out of my sidebar. Now, if you ever need to go back and edit again, all you have to do is click on any one of these arrows and then right down here in the bottom right color of the drop down, bottom right corner, not color, of the drop down, you can see there's a little edit button. You can click on that. It will bring up the sidebar and you can come back and change if you need to. So for example, let's say I want to customize and make my text black to match the other ones instead of having one white. Click OK and then click done. So now that I've changed only one, it's asking, should I apply all these changes to all of them in that area? Or do you want me to just do just that single one change? And for this example, I know that I want the entire column to be all the same color. I want it to make changes to all of them. So I'm going to apply to all. But if you're only making a change to one individual one and you don't want to make that change to all of them, you could say just this instance. Totally up to you. But I'm going to apply to all. And then now I'm going to get out of my sidebar. And as you can see now, if I click low, it will show with black text. So that's how you do the range there. And that's how you edit it anytime. You could just go to your arrow and click on the little edit button. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create a drop down based on a range of cells. So if you don't want to manually type in the different options, like I don't mind typing in for like high, medium, low, or for my statuses because there's only 4 of them. But let's say you have a lot of options and you want to actually select all of them and make it editable. So actually, let me give you an example. I'm just going to delete these out. Oh, is it not going to let me do it? Of course, the one time I'm filming and it's not going to let me do it. Let me find where's my lovely thing. Give me a second here. Let me fix this. Delete you. There we go. So, for example, I want to do a genre, but I want to make it based off of my little area over here where it has all my list of different genres. As you can see, it's a long list and I don't want to type it out. Can you imagine trying to type all this out? Plus, I also want to give the options for anyone that's using the spreadsheet and they want to add in their own genre, they can add it in here. So let's say I put in new genre. I can't even spell. There we go. And I enter that and I'm like, I want to make sure that that drop down picks up that new one without me having to manually go change it. So I'm going to show you how to do that using the drop down from a range. So again, we're going to go back to our area where we want to add this drop down. So you're going to select the first cell and then again, you're going to select all the cells you want to apply this to because I'm applying this to the entire column. So from what is this, H9 all the way to the bottom. Again, I'm going to use the Shift Command and Down key. If you're on a PC, you're going to use the Shift Control and Down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to Data. And you could do Data Validation, or again, like I showed you before, you can also right click. And of course, I unclicked or unselected everything. So let me just quickly reselect that. Again, just right click, and then you could do a drop down. And our little range, our little sidebar comes up. And so now our range is chosen, but I want to apply the drop down from a range. So now I need to go over to where I've added in this one. Here we go. So I got lots of new genres. So I want to scroll to the very top. So in order to add your range, you need to make sure one that you've selected drop down from a range and then select in this cell and then click on the little icon here. I'm just going to move that over and again make sure that your cursor's inside here. And then I'm going to select the very first cell in my range that I want to include in the drop down. So this is my very first genre, and then I'm going to hold the Shift key. I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom. I think I made this super long. There we go. Because I wanted people to be able to add as many genres as they want. So find the very end, holding your Shift key, select the very last cell of that range. Then you're going to click OK. And so as you can see, it automatically added all of them in there, which is awesome, right? We don't have to do that. You can also do advanced options. So now we can choose what kind of, do we want to do chip style? Do we want to do an arrow style? I'm going to do arrow for this one because for me, when I'm creating my drop downs, if I know that's only going to be a couple of drop downs, so like the priority one or the status one, I know there's like 3 or 4 drop downs. I don't mind customizing those colors for like the chipped ones because the chipped ones, you can either leave them gray or you can match them to your spreadsheet colors. But so I don't mind matching those colors up because it doesn't take a lot of time to like find different colors inside the spreadsheet and make them their own individual colors. But when it comes to like 100 genres, I don't really want to create a color for each and every one of those single genres, right? So I can leave it as chip, but then leave the coloring as gray, just to make it super simple. Or I could just do arrow, because I like the way arrow looks when there's no color behind it. It's literally just like I'm going to leave it as gray, even though it doesn't look gray. I'll show you what it looks like, but I'm just going to do arrow because I think it looks simpler for this option and I don't have to go to every single genre and add its own unique color for the drop down. So that's why I'm choosing arrow. It's up to you again. If you're only doing like catching a few of them or you're using a range of just a few cells, then it might be easier, or maybe you want to take the time and add different colors. Totally up to you. But for me, I'm a little bit lazy. I just want to do the easiest thing that still looks good. And so I'm going to choose arrow and then click on done. So now if I scroll all the way up and I come over to my lovely genres, you can see everything is listed all the way even to new genre. And then what we can do, so let me get out of there. So again, this works the same way as the other one. So if you ever need to go back and edit anything, you could just use that edit button on the actual drop down itself, and this will pop up if you ever need to edit it. But the great thing about this way of doing it is that you can come over to your genres and I can add another genre. So I'm going to say genre 2, hit enter. And then once I scroll back up to where my drop down is, you can see it's automatically added it in there. So especially if customers are using this, it makes it super simple. It's like, hey, just go to the genre list, add it there, and then this will automatically populate. It makes it a lot easier. And so now when I select, let's say action here, you can see with the arrow style and with a gray background, there's not really a gray background. It's the color of the cell, whatever I need it to be. But as you can see, it's just very simple. Doesn't pull out as much attention as here. So it's up to you how you want to do it, but that's how you do it from arrange. So I can also do it from my star rating here. So I have my rating here. I'm just going to show you guys again. So I'm going to do Shift Command and down, all the way down. And then I'm going to go to right click, drop down from arrange. And again, I'm just going to scroll up to go get my lovely range. So again, I'm going to put my cursor in here. Click on the icon. Again, make sure your cursor is in there before you select the range. I'm just going to select my star ratings here. So again, I have my 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 star ratings. Click OK. I'm going to, what am I going to do? Just arrow for this one, I believe. And don't forget, if you want to allow multiple selections, as of right now, you can only use it with the chip style. So just remember that when you're creating your dropdowns. So I'm going to click done. I'm going to close out my lovely sidebar, and then here is my dropdown. So if I wanted to change any of these, I can easily change them. Let's say I want to do hearts instead. So I can do 5 hearts. And then I could do 4 hearts. And then it would automatically update. So as you can see, it's saying it's invalid. And that's the only reason is because I've actually changed the data in here. So all I have to do is if this one says invalid, because remember I went from star to heart, I would just open it up and click on the hearts and then automatically fixed. There you go. No problem. So just know if they do edit any of the drop down information. So like if they take this and change it to adventures, and if it's already been selected, it's going to show an error. And then all they have to do is just click on the drop down and reselect it. If they haven't selected that name at all and you've changed it, there won't be any errors. So that's it. If you have any questions at all about how to add in a drop down, feel free to reach out. And remember, my name is Michelle from the Creative Wild Heart. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more awesome videos, please subscribe. Thank you. Bye.